let's just jump right in. If you're running a small or medium-sized business, you already know this, right? Cybersecurity, it's not just some IT thing you check off a list. Nope, it's about survival. So today, we're going to break down exactly what that looks like and give you a real-world guide to what's called a vulnerability risk assessment.
So let's not beat around the bush. Let's ask the one question that's probably on every business owner's mind. What's the real cost? Like in dollars and cents, what happens if your business gets hit by a cyber attack?
And honestly, the answer is it's staggering. We're talking about an average cost for a single data breach of over $150,000. Think about that. For a lot of small businesses, a hit like that isn't just a bad week. It's a potential knockout punch. Game over.
And here's the part that's just, well, it's not fair. You're facing the exact same threats as the giant billion-dollar corporations. The difference? They've got whole floors of people dedicated to security. You're probably wearing 10 different hats already, trying to squeeze this in with a tiny team and an even tinier budget. It's a tough spot to be in, for sure.
But that's exactly why we're talking about this. Because of that unique challenge, you have to be smarter. It's not about throwing an army of people at the problem. It's about having the right tools and a focused, intelligent strategy. And the heart of that smart strategy, it's something called a vulnerability risk assessment, or a VRA for short. The easiest way to wrap your head around it is to think of it like a full head-to-toe health checkup for your business's technology. It's a systematic process that goes in, finds all the little weaknesses, evaluates how serious they are, and then, and this is the key part, helps you figure out what to fix first, all before a bad guy finds them.
So why do this? Well, a VRA gives you 4 huge wins. First, risk prioritization. It tells you where to spend your money so you get the most bang for your buck. Second, proactive security. You get to be on offense, fixing problems, instead of just playing defense after you've been hit. Third, regulatory compliance. It helps you check all those boxes you need to for contracts or industry rules. And finally, cost-effective mitigation. Like we just saw, it's just way cheaper to prevent the fire than to rebuild the house after it burns down. Okay, now here's a really important point, and it's a place where a lot of people get tripped up. There's a massive difference between just running a scan and doing a full assessment. And knowing that difference, that's how you make sure you're not just throwing your money away on security. Let's break it down side by side. Think of a vulnerability scan as the technical report. It's automated, it's a deep dive, and it spits out a list of things like missing software patches or bad configurations. It's perfect for your IT person. The risk assessment, on the other hand, is the business report. It takes that technical data and asks, so what? How does this actually affect our money, our reputation, our ability to operate? This is the report you, the manager or owner, need to see. You need both, but they answer totally different questions for different people.
So, what makes up a good VRA program? Let's get practical. I'm going to give you a 5-point playbook. These are the absolute must-have, non-negotiable parts of any effective program.
And it all starts with this one idea, this quote that just nails it. You can't secure what you don't know exists. It sounds so simple, right? Almost obvious. But you would be shocked at how often this is the #1 blind spot for small businesses.
And that brings us to step 1, a complete asset inventory. Seriously, you have to document everything. Every laptop, every server, every piece of software, every cloud service where your data lives. You just have to know what you're trying to protect. This is how you find that shadow IT stuff, like that file sharing app an employee started using without telling anyone. That's where the massive security holes hide.
Okay, so once you know what you've got, what's next? You got to check it regularly. Number 2 is regular scanning and testing. And this is not a one-time thing. This is like brushing your teeth. Frequency is everything. The stuff that's facing the public internet, that's your front door. You scan that weekly. Everything else inside, at least monthly. And then, once a year, you bring in the pros for what's called a penetration test. That's where you literally pay a good guy to try and hack you. It's the ultimate reality check for your defenses.
Now, all that scanning, it's going to find a lot of stuff. And you'll look at the list and think, there's no way we can fix all this. And you're right, you can't. That's why number 3 is risk-based prioritization. You have to focus on what actually matters. You look at 3 things. How bad is the flaw? How easy is it for a hacker to use it? And how important is the system it's on? Right? A big problem on your main sales server is an all-hands-on-deck emergency. A tiny flaw on a temporary test computer can probably wait till next Tuesday.
So you've got your prioritized list. Now what? You have to actually fix things. That's number 4. Robust patch management. And let me tell you a secret of the cybersecurity world, and it's a painful one. The vast majority of breaches happen because of a problem that the company could have fixed. The patch was out, it was available, they just didn't install it in time. That's why automating your patching is maybe the single most powerful security move you can make, period. And number 5, the final piece of the playbook, is threat intelligence integration. Look, your security can't be based on yesterday's news. The threat landscape changes daily. Threat intelligence is what tells you what the bad guys are actually doing right now. Is there a new bug that hackers are going crazy over? Knowing that lets you take that specific fix and rocket it to the top of your to-do list. It's what keeps you from fighting last year's war.
All right. So that's the playbook, the 5 essential components. But theory is one thing, right? How do you actually make this happen? Let's get down to brass tacks. What do you do and what does it cost?
This chart right here says it all. Look at this. A managed program to do all this stuff for you might run you, say, $5,000 a year. Now compare that to the $150,000 price tag of an average breach. The math is just staggering. That's a 30-to-1 return on your investment. I mean, from a pure business perspective, forget security for a second, this is a no-brainer. It's just smart money management.
So where do you even begin? It can feel overwhelming, I get it, but here's a simple roadmap for your first 90 days. 4 steps. 1, figure out what rules you have to follow, any specific regulations or contracts. 2, do that first scan and assessment to see where your biggest gaps are. 3, write down a simple plan for what to do if the worst happens. Who do you call? What's the first step? And 4, put some tools in place to keep an eye on things moving forward. See, it's a real plan you can actually do. Still not sure if this is urgent for you? Okay, let's do a quick reality check. Be honest. Do you know every single device and piece of software on your network? Do you scan, but only when you have time? Is patching something you do after you hear about a problem? Is there a documented plan for what to do in a crisis? If you found yourself shaking your head or saying no to 3 or more of those, then yeah, it's time to act. Now.
But I want to end by flipping this whole conversation on its head. Because everything we've talked about, it's not just about stopping bad things from happening. If you're only thinking about security as a cost, you're missing the biggest part of the story. It is, without a doubt, a huge competitive advantage.
Think about it. When you have rock-solid security, you can go after those big corporate contracts because they demand it from their partners. You build trust with your customers, and trust means you can charge what you're worth. You can sleep at night, operating with confidence, and you become a magnet for all the customers out there who are getting smarter and smarter about who they trust with their data. So we started by asking what a cyber attack costs, but let's end with a much more powerful question. After seeing the cost of a breach and the massive business advantages of being secure, the question isn't, can I afford to do this? The real question you have to ask yourself is, can your business afford not to?